Two fools agree on that one. Oh, by the way, look, we got the wide shot. Ah!
You had accountability. Now, what I can...
Now all you need is a podcast and a YouTube channel.
No, not even.
Where, give me the money. Show me the money.
Apparently there's a Foolproof page.
Shoot the J. Shoot it. Live on Facebook.com/Foolproof Entertainment Network. I need you on Twitter. I need you to repost the Facebook pages.
To raise a human before I would
trust a human to raise back wolves.
Before I would trust a pack of humans to raise wolves.
Right. I hear you. Yo, what up, fools? Welcome to another edition of Do Fools Agree. As always, I'm your host, Michael Reggie, here with my main man, Clifford Jordan Jennings.
That's me.
That's you.
That's me.
That's you. How you doing, man?
I'm all right. I'm doing all right. Didn't have a bad week. Wasn't a great week, but it wasn't a bad week.
Sometimes that's all you can hope for.
All right. You know, so I'm doing all right.
Good.
How about you?
Man, I'm doing all right. Last week or so has felt just a little, I don't know. It's just felt a little off. I can't really put my finger on it. But that being said, we did a team event on Tuesday. My team went to my team went to the Mid-Ohio Food Bank.
Oh, okay.
So we did a volunteer session there and went and grabbed lunch afterwards, and I kind of told them to cut loose after lunch rather than going back and getting back on meetings and that kind of stuff. So that was good. It was good to see everybody. It was funny because we went to Blue Jackets game Saturday.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Had the suite tickets for the company. And so got to go there and actually had two of my team members there as well. So it was weird because I was telling them, I'm like, I ain't seen you guys in a year. And you two I've now seen twice in 3 days. So it's, just changing the paradigm a little bit.
Were they two that you don't mind seeing twice in 3 days?
Yeah, no, they're good. Buddy Andrew, guy that I've worked with for probably 6 or 7 years now. He and I have always gotten along well. And then we'll call it a junior associate who it was more just meant to be like a reward for a lot of hard work put in recently. So both good people, it was a good time. And honestly, I kept the streak alive. Yet another Jackets game that I've been to that went into overtime because 85% of the games I go to end up in overtime, which is weird because the NFL percentage is like 20% of games. Yeah. And I've been to like 80% of the games I've been to over the last, we'll call it 5-6 years, have gone to overtime, and about half of those end in a shootout. And like the percentage of actual NHL games that do that are minuscule. Right. So I don't know what it is, but they came back to beat the Red Wings,
Detroit,
and go out on a win for a abysmal season.
I think not the last Blue Jackets game we went to that was the shootout.
Yeah,
we won in the shootout.
See, I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. It's not.
Listen,
that's not a common thing. It's not, and
maybe you're just a 20%er.
Right? I guess
20% of the time.
20% of the time
he
it works.
He obeys laws
every time. Wait, that's not it. That doesn't make any sense. Oh man! But other than that, I mean, like I said, week was it just felt off. It wasn't bad by any means, but I don't know. feel like I'm losing focus right now, and I need to buckle down on something. I'm not sure what that thing is. And
right.
It's probably this. And figuring out kind of what the next steps are here at this point. But
right.
I think I also needed to not obsess about it for a little while. It's just now I'm finding myself wasting time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
you know what, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I'll say similar.
Yeah.
I'll say similar because I've noticed in the past couple weeks that if I don't have something on the agenda, it's hard to even get out of bed.
I feel you.
I'm like, I have nothing to do. I'm just going to lay here and watch TV.
Well, and like for me, it's been, so my son has gotten into Minecraft, and I've literally been playing that just like farming diamonds.
Right.
Like just dumb, like shit that is completely mindless. And it's a nice like little way to like unwind for 20 minutes or half hour because I'm not doing anything that's like complicated. It's like literally just looking for diamonds. And it's like, what am I doing? Like I'm wasting, like I should be doing something. Right. And so I think I needed like a week of that to just like decompress from all the shit of the last month. But now it's like, all right, it's time to get back on the grind, get something going.
I feel it. And it's a split with me because, of course, motherfuckers got plans.
Right.
Especially with the pods and all that. But it's like I find myself having the work day bleed into the off day.
Yeah.
Which kind of takes away some of that drive, because it's like a rough work day and have me, fuck it, I'm not doing what I planned on doing. After this, I need to cool out. I need to
relax, or right. I need to, yeah.
And yeah. I mean, that is a hard balance, especially when you have dreams of your own, but you're, making money for the motherfuckers who already got it.
Yeah. No, I mean, absolutely, which is why, like, I know I should be doing something to advance, like, my skills, myself, what we're doing with this. Like,
right, I agree.
And it's, like I said, I needed a little bit of a decompression after, like, the month's worth of birthday parties, it felt like. And just, like, family stuff going on and all that. And now it's like, all right, you took your break, get your shit together. So we'll see. I'm sure we've got things to discuss. The good news is Jeff is back to doing like once a month during the week, and then 2 episodes on like a Sunday or a Saturday during the month. So he's got some big stuff coming up over the next 3 months in terms of the mind and body understanding stuff. He just hit his 10th episode, so big milestone there for him.
Congrats, sir.
Yeah. And so getting that moving, and then I know you and I are harassing our boy Tony about the logo. And he's I mean, we saw the draft in terms of the sketch and stuff.
Yeah, no, he's on it.
He'll be good. He'll be good. But it's stuff like that, and honestly, like once we have that, and I know originally you had somebody maybe lined up to do like video work. If that's not feasible, like I'll jump in and do that again because I like doing that shit.
Right.
So, and I think
if I knew how, I would do it myself.
Well, and maybe that's something like you and I can partner together on. Is I can do kind of a cut and send it to you, and you can kind of give me the creative feedback, or we could literally sit here one night and do it. And
I wouldn't be against that.
We can put it up on the screen here, same way we do our Zoom calls and shit, and just kind of live video.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be against that.
I will tell you, I was looking up stock video footage, like, you know what a stock image is? It's basically like
I thought you was talking about the motherfucking the Wall Street. I didn't know what the fuck.
So a stock video or a stock image is basically artwork that you can either buy the rights to or is rights free.
Right.
So you can use it in anything. And so I found a bunch of like generic sports clips that I think doing what you were talking about with doing like a typeface across, one of the hosts and doing their name, analyst, blah, 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 and then intercutting that with like miscellaneous sports footage.
Right.
I think it would be hot, and I also found a nice little slow-mo shower video where like the shower cuts on and it's.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. So I was fucking around with that one day. But that's the, I mean, I've never considered myself to be super creative, but when it comes to like video editing and doing that kind of stuff, I enjoy doing it.
Right.
Whether or not it's any good, debatable, I'm sure, but I enjoy it. So
I don't think you've missed. Now that's also coming from somebody that doesn't have a vast knowledge of it, you know.
Right.
So, because I know like somebody actually does it, it's probably like no,
and I'm sure, and honestly, if somebody wants to do it for us for free,
listen, I enjoy
I'm more than happy to hand the reins. But if nobody's gonna do it for free, I have no problem doing it. You know, like it's probably time to recut our intro for this show.
Yeah, I would say so.
But especially because the artwork's changed since we did the first one, so we'll think about it. I'll think maybe that's something I'll put my energy into. And then the other side of it is we've been doing the D&D thing, but like we've only played twice over the last month.
For real.
And so like I haven't had to do any additional work there even.
Right.
So I'm not doing anything that's like that feels like I'm creating. Like even if it's not something that is like making money or driving this forward, like doing something to or get out some sort of creative outlet. And I'm not the most creative person to begin with, but it gives me something to focus on and something to build and feel like I'm accomplishing something. Even if that accomplishing something is a fun game for the family that weekend.
Right.
But
I follow.
So I don't know. It's just been on my mind a little bit lately, and it's honestly I think too like Shar has been in a spot where she didn't have to do a lot of like prep work and teaching during like January, February, March because she had a student teacher.
Right.
Her student teacher's no longer there, so like she's spending her night doing lesson plans and stuff where she hasn't been doing that the last couple months. And then Andrew is Andrew and running off with his friends all the time, and I'm like, I'm just lonely. I need something to do. So finding something to do. But.
Right.
All right. Well, you got any inadvertence to get us going tonight, Mr. Jennings?
Maybe.
What's that mean?
Yeah, I might have one. And I guess it would be a good segue into some of the movie topics because it came from the movies that you sent that you were looking at.
Got it.
And I was just thinking to myself, a few different things actually, but I guess it all stems from the umbrella under lack of creativity.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And when it comes,
you feel like we're still in this bag of there's nothing quote unquote new. It's all so here's where my realm of thinking went. Right, so I'm watching and I'm like, what's with all these fucking superhero movies? You know what I mean? Like I don't mind them, but I'm like, damn, like that's all we see now. And we're even getting to a point where like if you look on Netflix, you got like the Jupiter's Legacy
and all that, and
Green
it's like
Knight
you're even making new superheroes.
Yeah, but that doesn't count
as well
as being new.
No, because it's a TV show.
Okay.
It's not a movie; it's a TV show. You know what I mean? It's harder to.
I think you're seeing a shift in that dynamic, though, because I do think, from a movie standpoint, the only movies you're getting anymore are very artsy, like independent films or blockbusters. There's nothing in between anymore. You don't have that like average like rom-com or comedy to go see.
Right.
They're few and far between.
We're getting into my inadvert now because it's like at first I wonder if it's a lack of creativity. Then my second thought goes to, is it a cry for help?
Say more.
Like that's what we feel we need currently.
We need a superhero.
Right, to get us out of the current,
see that.
Situation that we're in. So people are driven to that superhero because of needing one, I guess.
Well, and I think it's the same reason you saw all of the like zombie vampire type movies during like the Great Recession.
Right. And then I got to a point where it was like, well, maybe it's the culture that we're in as well.
Yeah.
Because we're picking Snow White apart. You know what I mean?
Right.
How much does that motivate somebody to make something from scratch?
Well, it's funny you say that because wasn't it? Damn, why am I blanking on his name? Childish Gambino. What's his real name? Donald Glover.
Yep.
Donald Glover came out and said like nobody wants to take chances right now because of cancel culture.
Right.
And it's not just cancel culture in the sense of like liberals canceling things. It's the sense of studios don't want to put faith in anything unless it's a proven IP, and like nobody's willing. We have become very risk averse when it comes to creativity.
I think in general.
I think that's fair.
I think in general,
we're not willing to take chances.
The only people that are succeeding currently, at least in our, we can't say four walls in the country, but you know what I mean?
What you mean.
At least in our area, no one's taking risks but the people that are already on top rewarding from. You know what I mean?
And the question is that they're the only ones taking risks because they aren't risk averse because they don't have anything. They're not losing anything if something fails.
Right.
Whereas other folks are losing
for someone like
everything.
us to take a risk, that also you got to think about the outcome.
Right.
You know what I mean? How much am I putting into this? And if it fails, how much am I losing?
Right.
Like, all that isn't a question to the people that are currently taking the risk.
Right. And I think even to that point, like, I'll put it together like this. You and I are not in a position where we could quit our jobs and try to do this full time.
Right.
Because the risk reward there isn't big enough.
Right.
Like, it's just not. At least not at this point. Now, you know, we get to 1,000 plus followers and subscribers, and we're doing 10,000 downloads a month. Maybe. But even then...
I mean, but you could substitute this with anything.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like with
So you're either working to make other people money or you're working to make yourself money, which is always, you know...
Right. And the current climate of the country is... If you are going to go all in on yourself, that's exactly what you're doing. Right. You're going all in. If you lose that hand, you're done for.
Right. No health care, no anything, no safety net, no...
Which fucks up our socioeconomic standing because then those people stay those people and these people stay these people. Because it's like, yeah, you can try it for yourself. But do you really want to?
Right.
When I can offer you... this job, but that job isn't making you no money.
Right. And on the flip side, like if you are going to go into something like say real estate, you're still a slave to the bank at that point, right?
Unless you got enough money to where...
Right.
But then we're not talking about you in general because you're not the risk guy.
Right. Exactly.
You're not the guy taking the risk.
No, completely with you there.
So, I mean, and especially... I don't know. I guess it was just the movie, and this is shit. Don't get me wrong. This is shit that we've talked about also, and it's shit that
I feel like
both already know.
I feel like it's also a different. I feel like we're not hitting on the exact same points, though.
Right.
So that's where I'm not like.
It's just interesting to me how entertainment translates.
It does
to that situation.
Well, and I think it too is. I don't know.
Matter of fact, the perfect analogy, or let me say this, not analogy or anything like that, but the birth of my thought, my inadvertent thought, came from that purge shit.
Okay.
That forever purge.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like this, and I know it sounds fucked up because I never liked any of those movies to begin with, but I was thinking to myself like, this is my superhero movie.
Yeah.
The same thing that...
This is something that you could see reality.
Right.
And
the same thing that you get hyped about seeing Superman show up to save the day. And that's what you know what I mean? Like, it's rough, but that's The only thing I see saving the day is people waking up being like, yeah, these motherfuckers have eaten too long. It's time to feed everybody.
Right.
And that's what I got from that movie. Now, were they doing it the best way? Probably not, because a lot of the people that you were killing didn't have anything to do with it.
Right.
But it seemed to me, based on the trailer, that it got to a point where they were like, no, these rich motherfuckers aren't going to continue being rich. And then I was like, there goes Superman.
Yeah.
Now Superman flies in. That's the save the day.
That's okay.
And it might seem grim, but that's the only way to save the day.
Right. There was another one that came up that was kind of the same, and I'm blanking on which one it was. Like, kind of what you're saying, but it took it to the nth degree, and it was funny because, and I'm not going to remember what it was. It was Operation something or other. And what it was basically like world military hitting the reset on the world.
Right.
Which was basically like eliminate 90% of people and start fresh with basically the top 10%.
Right.
And it made me think of comments you've made in the past around, fuck it, where's the asteroid? Where's the meteor?
I'm telling you. I mean, if that's what's going to happen, I mean, what are we waiting for?
Right.
And I don't mean the meteor, I mean all of that. Like, if the rich are going to try to readjust the military, what are we waiting for?
Right.
Like, I feel like that we're at a point in our current world situation. I'm not just going to say country, where it's like we're approaching the top of that roller coaster.
Yeah.
And it's clicking. And it's only a matter of time before we reach that climax and shit drops and that ride really starts. You feel what I'm saying?
I hear you.
And you look at it with all the shit going on elsewhere in the world as well. And it's like, yeah, it's not just here. But
True.
See, the thing is, it's never been just here.
No.
We just have a good way of... We talk about how much China does a good job of suppressing the information they want to their people. We do the same thing, but instead what we do is we give you that information, but spin it in a way that everybody's going to hop on board with this narrative.
Or what they really do is they spin it on both sides of the equation so that if you lean one way or the other, you get hyper-focused in kind of your view of it. Because we don't do any work, we don't do any actual fact-finding anymore, etc. Like,
it's just crazy. Like, I just think it's crazy. And the movie shit, like watching all those trailers, just to me made me feel like almost how music's been.
Yeah.
Like, where you got your Kendrick Lamars and your J. Cole's, like geniuses in the music world, but they literally have to dumb themselves down to be marketable in this society because people don't follow.
Right.
And that's where I feel like
and
the movies are...
It's all about the follow. It's all about the shorter the song so you get more downloads on Spotify.
I don't want to hear all that lyrical shit, make it dumb, melodic, and we're in there. And I feel like the movies have transferred to that as well.
They have. And I wouldn't argue that. I think what's interesting, though, is that was take superhero movies, for example. That was something that until, let's say, 10, 15 years ago, you couldn't do good versions of it because the technology,
CGI and all that.
the technology didn't exist. Even the forefront of the technology game was other properties. So you had Star Wars that really advanced technology from a prequel perspective in terms of CGI and everything. So the prequels did that. And then you had like Avatar, which was James Cameron and everything that he was doing. But outside of that, like, the problem is that I hear your point on there hasn't been kind of a net new idea. What I struggle with there is that there have been, and that stuff hasn't done well, and so studios have become more averse to it because and what sucks is the few things that I've seen that got crowdfunded ended up not being great either. Like Super Troopers 2, great example. I was part of the crowdfunding there. I did $5-10 or whatever, the 25 or whatever. Second one is garbage.
Never watched it.
And so it's like, okay, that was a quote unquote successful crowdfund that was garbage, and it's like, so no wonder studios aren't willing to put money into things and take risks because they're not making their money back.
I think studios are the issue. I think what you said there, studios are the issue because they know that they're battling cancel culture.
Yeah.
So they gotta watch what they put in the movies. They gotta watch who they cast for the movies. That's where we are nowadays, where you can't even cast who you want.
Our girl Gina.
And then you also have to battle the marketing analytics.
Yep.
So those two things right there, cancel culture, and marketing analytics, right there, take you below 50%.
Well, and on top of that, it's the consolidation, right? We have gone from having dozens of studios to having Disney, Sony, Warner Brothers.
Monopoly. It's the monopoly.
Right.
We're monopolizing everything at the moment, and I thought that's the whole reason we didn't want, like, the whole democracy thing was to make sure none of this happened.
That didn't happen.
And we're here anyway.
Well, that was the idea of the free markets and blah, 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 is that you would never have consolidation of power because evolution and disruption would win out.
But see,
the problem is
stopped.
Well, and even beyond that, even evolution didn't stop.
Well, I mean, economic evolution stopped.
The companies at the top were able to either buy out or buy in to those advancements. You look at something like Netflix.
No, I get it.
Like, Netflix changed the game. They really did in terms of new content provider, new studio, they came to the market fresh. And what has everyone else done? The players with money have followed suit.
Right, and but that's another them situation.
I hear you, but that's the same idea, though.
My whole thing is, of course, they're going to do that because they have the marketing analytics as well as the cancel culture analytics right in front of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when it comes down to the people, we don't know that. All we have is our specific, our peer group in social media.
Right.
And very rarely do you venture out of that peer group.
Amen.
So
that goes back to the echo chambers and...
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So the marketing, the people at the top understand that. They've had all that information for years. So I feel like that's the translation of why it's like, I almost feel like they think the same way I'm thinking. Like, these motherfuckers are dumb. They want melodic music. They don't want punchlines.
Yeah.
So give them melodic. Give them MC Phase 4 and shit that's already been written, and we can just put our little tweaks to it to make it visual on the screen.
Yeah.
But
basically
all of
bring
that
it to life off the page.
All of that's already been done. Even the one, there was only 2 movies that I was drastically interested in. Is somebody in the chat?
No, that's what I was just double checking.
Okay. There was only 2 movies that I was drastically interested in. I used that word wrong because I don't mean drastically as in I was interested in going to see them.
Okay. What do you mean?
But out of all of the movies, I was interested in, damn, I can't even remember the ones anymore. Oh, well, this is something that, and I guarantee it, I'm going to ask you 2 questions. I'm going to say the movie, and I'm going to ask you 2 questions, and I guarantee I'm right. That Green Knight?
Yeah.
It's been done before, correct? Not done before as in a movie, but it came from somewhere, correct?
Yes, it's based off a book.
Okay, that's what I thought. Now, I didn't know that. I'm just saying that. Now, because the only reason why
That's because people don't read, so it's new to most people.
Right. And that's the only reason why I thought that is because I'm watching the trailer, and I'm watching it on YouTube, right? So instantly, the next thing that pops up below the trailer are all these people reactions.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, you're not reacting to a regular trailer. You're reacting to something that you know and hold close, and you're like,
meaning you are a fan of the book.
Kind of like how you are with Dune
or
you
The
knew
Witcher.
something about that beforehand, so you had an already investment into it. So when I
Fair.
saw people were already invested, I was like, this isn't an original thought. This
Right.
is once again a book or a comic or something that they remade into a movie. And that was the only thing that caught my eye. The other one was the Jason Statham Wrath of Man.
Yeah.
But then I thought, that's the same movie that Michael B. Jordan just came out with on Amazon.
That shit's been
taken.
done.
It's everything. It's every movie Jason Statham's ever made.
Right. Jason Statham only does one kind of movie.
Jason Statham is the European Keanu Reeves. He only does his roles.
You know what I mean?
And that was the best impression you did. That was very close too. I will give you that one. That was a very close. Listen, but yeah, no. I mean, it's just like I get going with what you know will work.
Right.
I get it. 100%, 10% get it. But the thing that makes you money is the breakthrough.
No, it's not.
It's
the sure thing. No, dude. Do you want me to pull up the highest grossing movies of all time?
Well, you can, and I guarantee pull them up, and I guarantee you some of them are breakthroughs.
Other than Star Wars and Avatar,
and
the answer is no.
And I'm glad that you said that. I am so fucking glad you said that, because that's the point I meant to make when you were talking about Star Wars, and the point you said before that was they had to wait to make superhero movies because of CGI. And the first thing that popped into my mind was, well, that I have to push back on that, because the best outer space movies came from the 80s.
To an extent.
The 80s and 90s.
All right, so let's run through this. Number one, this is top grossing Lifetime. Mm-hmm. So, and I will tell you 1 and 2 have gone back and forth based on re-releases and that kind of shit.
Right.
Number 1, Avatar. To your point, was newish. The story felt very familiar, but
it's not Ferngully.
But it well, people say Ferngully, people say Pocahontas, people say
right, but it was the same. It's the same thing, just with different visuals.
Right, and so the beats are the same.
Right.
The beats of the story are the same, just a different environment, different characters, etc.
But you know what I'll say about that with Breakthrough?
That was a visual breakthrough. And
that's
it was IMAX, and it was 3D.
That's exactly what I was about to say. It was visually, it was a breakthrough. When you think about the color palettes that they used to make that movie,
completely
had never been done before, all that.
And it's funny, because the movie that did that next, it dropped, I think, 4 or 5 years ago, and it looked visually stunning, but the movie was a piece of garbage, and it never took off.
Is it number 2 on the list?
No. It was Valerian, which I bet you don't even know.
Never heard of it.
Nobody does. But visually, it was stunning.
Really?
Stunning.
What was it about?
That's the problem. I watched the movie and I couldn't tell you what it was
about.
Oh,
really? Well, that's a little
But
different.
Visually, it was amazing. And again, it was based off some existing IP that I wasn't familiar with. I'm sure there are people out there that loved it.
Right.
Same with, actually, the other one that I thought was visually stunning lately, and actually had a good story, and I think it's become a little bit of a cult classic, is Alita Battle Angel.
Is that the Pixar? Not Pixar, but it's like a Pixar type movie, where she's the black hair with the bob.
Yep.
But she's
it's
like
hyper violent.
She looks like an elf.
She looks like something. She's got big eyes. It's like the big distinguishing feature.
What you're talking about
that movie was actually decent.
Was it?
And again, that was something that felt new. Now I'm sure that's based on an IP too. I don't know what it is, but I mean, I'm sure there's an Alita Battle Angel manga or something. But again, that was another one that felt new, felt fresh, and didn't. Honestly, it was interesting because it was kind of roller derby-ish at points, but if it were super violent. Anyway, so getting back to the list. So Avatar, number 1.
Okay.
Number 2.
You're looking at me like I should know it.
Take a guess.
Star Wars.
No.
Wait, what's the list? What is this list?
This is top grossing movies of all time.
So Avatar was 1. 2 would be Twilight.
No, I will give you a hint. It's a superhero movie.
Matrix. Superman.
Superhero. Avengers Endgame.
Oh.
Franchise movie.
You could have gave me 10 more guesses. I wouldn't.
Number 3, Titanic. So not my kind of movie, but at the time, again, visually compelling. It was the launch of Leonardo DiCaprio's career.
It wasn't a bad movie.
No. But it was what made Leo a movie star.
But at the same time, I don't know if that... I mean, there's definitely no original thought. You know, you're just recreating an event.
Oh, let's keep going with the no original thought.
Right.
So I said, out of the top 10, I said... Actually, Avatar. I don't know that I gave you a number. So Avatar, original. Endgame... No. Titanic, I'll give you that one. Original. Because nobody had done anything like it before.
Okay.
Number 4. Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Not original. Part of an existing IP. Really a rehash of the original Star Wars movie.
Right.
Number 5. Avengers Infinity War.
Right.
Not original. Not something new and groundbreaking.
Right.
Number 6. Jurassic World.
Right.
Which was a reboot of Jurassic Park.
Right.
Not original, not innovative.
Crazy, you know it, and I'm waiting. Continue your list.
Keep going.
And then
I'll go through the top 10, and you'll see why I'm saying what I'm saying. Number 7, The Lion King. Not remake. The animated, the remake.
The remake. Right.
Number 8, The Avengers.
Right.
Number 9, Furious 7. The 7th movie in the Fast and Furious.
Right.
And then number 10 is Frozen 2.
And you know what?
Animated. And Frozen 2 I might be willing to give. I might be able to give Frozen like the originality. So that's 3 of the top 10.
So you know what? No, this is my whole thing. Even if you take away all of the 3 that you said, what's common about all those movies?
They're all remakes, and they're all in the last 10 years.
Exactly. All within the last 10 years or so, which is the dumb down started before now. Right. We're just in it now. You feel what I'm saying? But about 10 years ago, all that falls into line. How could the top grossing movies all be from 10 years?
Well, one, because movies have increased in popularity. So there's more access to movies now than there was 10 years ago. I would say access.
I wouldn't say increase the popularity. I think everybody always loved them.
And there's more people.
To everyone being able to watch them. Yeah. Unless you went to a show, is what they called it back in those days. Yeah. We went to a show, a viewing.
Well, let's see. Let's see what the oldest movie is on. This is
Star Wars. Not the.
Well, I'm not even to the original Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
Yet. I'm curious though. So if we were to go. So top lifetime gross, 99, Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. Is there something older than that? 96. Today we celebrate our Independence Day.
I did like Independence Day. I'm not gonna lie, I did like
1982 is the oldest one that I can find so far.
What's that?
80s movie. Kind of sci-fi. Kind of a family movie. They recently replaced guns with walkie-talkies in recuts of this film.
Oh, I don't know anything about that. I was about to say some dumbass shit like Spaceballs.
E.T.
E.T.? They had guns in E.T.?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it was. You got to remember, E.T. was captured by the military. There were guns everywhere. And there was like, the mom was smoking with her children at the dinner table. Like, that movie, I'm sure, has been edited to shit now.
I mean, what the fuck is wrong with that? What the fuck? I mean, I get what is wrong with that, but I'm saying, like, what the fuck is wrong with showing that?
And the last one that is the oldest on the list, 1977, and we've already talked about it a couple of times.
The original Star Wars.
Yes. Well done. Well done.
Said it,
Look at you, Schmodown. Look at you, Schmodown.
I knew that. I knew it was going to be Star Wars. But yeah, that's the dumbing down of shit. That's where we start watering down information.
Yeah.
So that makes sense that those top... And listen, it's just going to go higher within these top... You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to... Those will be dwarfed in the next 10 years. And the movies will be like bouncing song sing-alongs.
Well, I think the interesting thing is that the MCU was kind of like the perfect flash in the pan for the zeitgeist. I don't know that you'll ever see a franchise like the MCU go as strong and as deep as it did.
Well, I mean, it's set up for you.
Yeah, because
the tracks have been laid. All you have to do is bring it to life.
I agree, but what I'm saying is I don't know that anything else like that can capture the attention of people the way the MCU did. Because you got to think, it was a perfect storm. Like, our generation, with the millennials with disposable income, grew up either with the comic books or watching the Saturday morning cartoons, right?
Of what? What are we
talking
about?
Of, like, X-Men, Avenger, like, Spider-Man, etc. Like, the Marvel cinematic.
Okay.
Even, I don't know, even, like, Batman couldn't get there. Maybe they tried with G.I. Joe. That failed. And honestly, G.I. Joe wouldn't work today because there's such an anti-military flavor to everything in terms of pop culture.
Right.
Ninja Turtles, they buried too much. Transformers had potential, and honestly, the Transformers movies make a lot of money.
Yeah,
especially overseas.
Yeah, I didn't hate them. I mean, I didn't like them, but I didn't hate them. There was one that I liked.
Yeah. Well, the first one was decent, and even the second one was a little over the top with the racism. Third one was okay. Yeah, they had like these pair of like Hispanic motorcycle transformers.
Oh, yeah,
there was a little much.
Was that racist?
I mean, the dialogue was not intelligent. Right, okay. The dialogue was not intelligent. We'll put it that way.
Well,
by the way, shout out to Luke in the chat. FAFO. FAFO. Fuck around and find out, bitches. But, I mean, I'm trying to think, like, what else at this point could capture. I would love to be able to say something like Dune, but it's almost too intelligent.
So what I was thinking when I was saying like breakthroughs is that and don't get me wrong, even the breakthroughs are bitten off of.
Yeah.
But you brought up Donald Glover, Childish Gambino. I feel like he was a breakthrough. He was when he made that Don't You Close Your Eyes. Everybody loved that. That song was top. That song was number one for a minute. And it was just like something so simple that your parents listened to.
Yeah.
That I can bring to this era. It's what Bruno Mars tried to do.
Yeah.
It's exactly what Bruno Mars tried to do.
I would say Bruno's been pretty successful with it too. Like,
but
if you
not
look
like
at
that.
If you look at it from a total album, concert sales, like money perspective,
I get it.
Bruno's done all right.
I get it, but Bruno's done more than that as well. I only say that because Donald Glover came out with that.
Yeah.
Like that was a risk. We talk about risk. That was a risk. That was a situation where people are gonna fall in love with the song, or people are gonna shut your music career down instantly.
Right now, yeah.
And the fact that you pulled it off, it lets me know that people do want that weird, that not normal, but they don't know what they want enough. Or
I think you've also seen that success with him in the TV industry as well.
But I feel like
with Atlanta
he's still kind of stuck to his guns. You know what I mean? Like none of his acting roles have been so far out the box that it's like that's genius. But that song was genius to me when it came out. It was like, this is the perfect time to release something like this. I didn't even know it was Donald Glover. I was like, who's the dude that sings that? And they was like, Donald. I was like, oh, that makes me like it even more.
Right.
And until you have because we talked about studios earlier, until you have a studio that's willing to take a risk on something like that, will never get to a point of free thought.
Well, and that's not to say that there aren't smaller studios that are doing that. Like A24, I think, does a good job with that. And
I saw they were on. They did the Green Knight, didn't they?
yeah, and they also have done a fair amount of like independent films. I want to say they did. I'm gonna blank on it, but it's Chloe Grace Moretz and what is it, like the Miseducation of Cameron something or other.
What, the Lauryn Hill album?
No, but it's
right. But that was her name.
No, I know, but it wasn't. But it was like I think it was Cameron Post. I think it was either the Miseducation or the Education of Cameron Post, and it was basically, you know, a kind of a teen drama about a young lesbian girl who goes to a Catholic school that basically gets sent to a conversion therapy.
Oh, camp. Really?
Yeah, and it was, but again, the only place you see that stuff is more in the independent venue than it is anything else. Like, you don't see, that stuff doesn't necessarily get commercial success. I think the interesting thing is you look at things like, you know, and I didn't follow the Oscars at all this year, but you look at the stuff that gets like Oscar consideration, and most of the time it's not those big blockbuster films. It's films people have not heard of or seen. And the problem is that you don't see the translation from that to box office dollars after the fact. Right. I will say most years I will at least try to go like find the best picture or best picture related stuff. But most of the time I start them and I just can't finish them.
Oh no, I'm not never. I would never watch a movie that's best picture because they told me it's best picture.
Right. Now, I will say that I've watched something like Marriage Story because it got a little bit of acclaim.
I've never heard of that.
Which was Adam Driver in is it? Fuck, who is he in that with? Is it ScarJo? I think it's ScarJo. Netflix movie, but it was basically about a couple breaking up and going through like divorce and that kind of thing, and it was very emotional. Similarly, Black Klansman. Again, Adam Driver. It was something that I wasn't looking for, but like that was a good movie.
But it was from a true story too,
right?
You know what I mean? So like that's what I'm saying. Like,
why? But I like seeing the biopics that are biopics that are things that I didn't know.
Right, I do like that.
Like the Black Messiah. I don't like how that was executed. But I was glad they did that story.
Yeah, I couldn't get through the whole movie.
I just couldn't buy Daniel Kaluuya as Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton was so much more charismatic, like based on footage that I've seen.
Yeah.
He couldn't capture it. But whatever. On that front, I'm trying to think like other notable ones as of late that I've seen. I'm with you. There hasn't been a ton.
There's nothing's taken me since Tom Hardy's Warrior.
Okay.
That was the last movie that I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like I like that. Like that was just I liked it. And I haven't.
That's also a subject that you're interested in because that's MMA, isn't it?
Yeah, it was MMA. Yeah, it was MMA.
There's a new show coming out on, I think it's Stars, called Heels. And it's basically two brothers that become pro wrestlers, but they're heels, right? Which is the bad guys or whatever. That looks real interesting. That kind of falls into that. It feels like what it was at the wrestler with Rourke.
Mickey Rourke.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see that one. No, I mean
TV shows are the only thing you find
some originality,
original thought
like
in.
Lovecraft Country. I don't know if you saw it. It doesn't feel like it's up your alley, but that was original. That was something. Honestly, HBO does the biggest piece of it, and the problem is even the HBO stuff though isn't quote unquote original. Like I'm trying to think through the shows that I've liked on there most recently, like His Dark Materials. Great. Westworld, great. Game of Thrones, obviously, but those are all based on existing IPs.
I'm gonna jump out the window here.
We're in the basement, so it'll be crawl.
I'm gonna jump out the window and I'm gonna say that I think it comes to a culture aspect.
What do you mean? Is this a black-white thing? Is that what you're saying?
I do. I think that because, and the only reason why I say that is because, of course, especially in the movie industry, the white folks have been running it since it began. So their analytics are geared towards themselves.
Absolutely.
Now, when you bring in, like we said, we've been arguing that we don't have enough representation of color as far as directors go.
Yeah, it's what? It's Ava DuVernay. It's
Coogler.
Jordan Peele. It's Coogler.
Maybe Perry, if you want to throw him in there.
I think you have to.
I don't know if I would, but...
I think you have to, because even if you don't like the quote-unquote Tyler Perry movies, he does a lot of shit on a lot of other things that you wouldn't necessarily know.
Right.
Where he's not first billed, basically.
But what I'm getting at is the reason why people have protested or pushed back on the Oscars is because for so many years people have been saying, you don't even know what we like watching.
Right.
Like, you're just gauging that off of but you don't know what we like watching. And when you say the Lovecraft countries, which is Jordan Peele has his hands on that, you think of your...
Watchmen's the other one.
Right. That's not him.
Watchmen's not, but I mean, Watchmen to me was...
he has a piece of... He does have his hands in it. Yeah, he does have his hands in it. I was thinking of that Them.
Yeah.
On Amazon. Is that him?
I think... I can't remember.
And either way it goes, it's not like I'm saying, like, I like watching those flicks. That's not my style. But what I'm saying is, when you give...
Well, and honestly,
people,
like, he does a ton of, like, horror-type stuff, which I know isn't necessarily up your alley either. Like,
right. I gotta be in the mood to
like
watch
Get
a
Out
scary movie or
what was the other one?
Us.
I've
only really ever seen Get Out, really, if I'm talking about... I like Jordan Peele, but I've only really ever seen Get Out. But my reasoning behind that is nobody would have thought that you'd see a black person making a sci-fi flick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody would have thought that you would have had a black person making a... for lack of the words not coming to, a natural horror. Yeah. And what I mean by that is a horror story that applies to us, but other people don't view as scary because they're not in that situation. But when I see the black directors coming out, I do see difference.
Yeah.
Because I look at it as a white person giving a black guy a shot doesn't want to see, or woman doesn't want to see anything they've seen before. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying?
Right. They're giving them a shot because they don't want them to be cookie cutter like everybody else. Right.
They could do it themselves if they wanted to do that, but the fact that they're giving them a shot and they're coming up with this off the wall shit, it's almost giving us something to relate to. Yeah. Because it's like, oh, y'all like watching sci-fis too? We didn't know that. Well, there's not a lot of black directors, so you wouldn't know that.
Well, and on top of that, like, historically, there haven't been a lot of black characters in science fiction. Right. There haven't. I mean, let's see.
I wouldn't even begin
Star Trek, you had Nichols, who played Uhura in the original, like, 70s Star Trek, which is actually what inspired things like...
Oh, that wasn't my guy?
No,
James Earl Jones? Isn't it James Earl Jones?
I'm talking Uhura from the original Star Trek, so the black woman communications officer.
Who's the guy that played Lando Calrissian?
Oh, Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams, I knew it was something.
Colt 45 goes
James
down
Earl Jones
smooth every time.
With the, right, with the glasses.
Why, hello there. Yeah. You belong here among us in the clouds.
That might not have been a bad one either. We might have got
So you had Billy D in Star Wars. Okay, one guy. One character literally in the entire franchise. Star Trek The Next Generation does a little better because you've got Geordi LaForge and Worf.
Who's Worf?
The Klingon?
Oh, with the
ridges? Yeah.
I was just about to say
Deep Space Nine,
was he really black, though?
Yeah, Michael Dorn's black.
Not the character.
The actor.
Or not the actor, the character.
Oh, the character?
Like where there are multiple
because
colored
he's
Klingons?
aliens.
Because if there were white Klingons and black Klingons, then that would make sense.
There is at least one white Klingon, but there's only one.
So that's the black one.
Right. Right. I hear what you're saying.
You know what I mean? He's not the black one. That's the black one.
I hear you. So anyways, you had Geordi, and you had a main character who was black in the next series. With Captain Sisko.
Was that
Deep Space Nine?
Was that Billy D. Williams?
No, that is Avery Brooks, who honestly, when I've seen interviews of him, like his off-screen persona reminds me a lot of Gordon's dad. Really? I don't know why, but it just does.
Big Buford.
I'm trying to think, like...
Love Big Buford.
Not a lot of blacks in sci-fi.
Right, but...
It's like one per... If you're lucky, it's one per show. Or one per series.
Well, I mean, if you think about...
I guess Carl Weathers in, like, Predator.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes in general.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like that's why I equated it to that black and white thing, because the blacks making movies, it's like, oh, we didn't know you felt that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or
well,
we didn't know.
It's actually interesting because when I think about it, I'm like, mainstream representation of black America, we'll say, in 80s, 90s, what were positive images there? You had the Cosby Show.
I thought you were talking about movies.
Well, either way, movies or TV.
Yeah,
Lean on Me. I mean, maybe that's part of the reason why you do see a fair amount of black nerds is, like, sci-fi was the most, like, positive reinforcement.
Right. Everybody wasn't selling drugs. Everybody wasn't gangbanging. There were people that were doing other shit, too. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
no, I get it. I'm with you there. So I'm trying to think in terms of...
I feel like the same way in sports, though. We just need to cut the analytics. Cut it.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I get that you think that that's proven. But it's also only proven for this specific column of people. Let's prove some other shit. There's people other than outside of that.
Well, and
space.
to the point, like, you don't advance unless you're willing to go against the analytics, right? Like, you're not going to have that breakthrough unless, like, analytics will get you to a steady state, steady increase, in theory, in productivity.
I agree.
That's not disruptive, though.
Right.
Disruption comes when you go against the grain or
right.
you go against conventional wisdom. Like the concept of the zone read when it was becoming popular.
You're talking about football. Yeah.
Or, I'm trying to think, like, what would be, like, a baseball example. Like, just the heavy hitters in baseball. Like,
I wouldn't even say the heavy hitters. I would say that the era went to the pinch, not the pinch hitters, the people that you put on base. Those steals took games over to where the pitcher couldn't be comfortable pitching the ball like they were.
Yeah.
You got a Kenny Lofton on first base. Oh, I'm not about to throw this heater.
Right. Right.
He might lose it, and he's going to be on third by the time
he gets the ball back. If not making a push for home.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that I'm with you there. Like, the analytics...
They only speak to that generation.
Right.
But the generations...
They don't breed innovation.
Right. The generations evolve, and you're not speaking to the evolution of the generation when you're judging off those analytics. Which is the same with movies, same with sports, same with anything, business. Like, you can only wring a washcloth so far before nothing comes out.
Right.
And then once nothing comes out, you got to figure out what you're using next. Am I gonna put this washcloth back in the water? Am I gonna switch to a loofah? What am I gonna do?
Right.
And right now, I feel like we're getting to the point where we're just bleeding that washcloth dry, where it's just dripping, and eventually we're gonna have to change what we're doing because motherfuckers aren't interested.
Yeah.
I'm not interested. I mean, I can't speak for everybody else, but I know I'm not alone in thinking, when am I ever gonna go back to when is AMC gonna shoot back up? Because I'm never gonna go to the movies.
Right.
There hasn't been one movie in the years that I was kind of excited to see. I was kind of excited to see the Mortal Kombat. I was a little let down by it.
Yeah.
But I do feel like they can make up for it in the upcoming.
If they do more with it.
Right. I do think that. So I'm not going to just throw it away like I would a lot of the movies that are coming out right now. But nothing is exciting. Nothing excites me.
I will tell you that's actually my thought, and fear is too strong a word, but what's left for the MCU, I don't really care about.
Well, see, listen,
because you're moving past the stuff I was invested in.
And it's funny that you say that because I was just about to say the same thing about Mortal Kombat. You kind of got to put them on the same realm.
Yeah.
Because you jumped past thousands of pages of information.
Yeah. To
get to that end game and all that. You can't go back.
No.
I mean, you can try.
Well, and what they're doing is they're going with, like, The Legend of Shang-Chi. They're going with Eternals. They're going with, like...
I don't think that's going to pop the way...
I will want to see Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever or whatever. I will probably want to see the Marvels, which is, like, the second Captain Marvel movie. I will see the Thor movie because I just think Chris Hemsworth as Thor is hilarious, and I'll probably see the Guardians movie.
I do like the Guardians was the only one out of that.
Like
that I was
Thor,
interested.
Chris Hemsworth, maybe the Black Panther, maybe Captain Marvel.
My feeling about that is you grabbed all the casuals you could grab.
Right.
Now you're going back to where only the people that know about the comic books would be interested. So you're going to see a fall off in MCU because you jumped the gun and jumping to that end where... That
all being said, I say that and I'll at least have a curiosity about Blade coming back with Mahershala Ali as Blade.
And like black ass Wesley Snipes as Blade.
Motherfucker, I'll kill you.
Yeah. None of that.
But, I mean, that's where I'm like, you won't see another Infinity War Endgame from a cultural...
They're on the downhill.
They are.
They don't even
have...
have...
that's not to say that they won't still make money.
They're going to make money.
Still make money.
Right.
But...
They've gotten certain casuals to the point that they still want to see the movies even if it's something they don't know anything about. But once we're getting to the superheroes that people didn't read about in comic books...
Right. Or didn't have the Saturday morning cartoon.
You're cutting your viewership in half at that point.
I agree. I mean, it's honestly why Captain Marvel didn't do as good as Wonder Woman did.
But that's what analytics get you. Analytics say, jump the gun.
Yeah.
Analytics say, let's go to Endgame right now. No, what happened to everything before that led up to
Well, and that's where you need to have that. So what Marvel has actually done really well is they have a singular creative vision around... We want to start this big universe here, and we want to end here.
Right.
That's actually was the problem with the last round of Star Wars movies, was that there was no, we want to start here and end here. They let the directors, like, each do their own thing.
Right.
And it's a fucking discombobulated mess.
Yeah.
Where Star Wars has done well, and I think they will continue to do well, is on the TV side.
Right.
It's Jon Favreau and...
But they're building it back up. They're building it back up now, and I like the fact that they're building it back up via TV as opposed to movies.
Well, and I think Star Wars is best when you can get into real character development. And the last round of Star Wars movies, the most developed character in all three of those movies isn't Rey, isn't Finn. It's Kylo Ren, the bad guy.
Okay.
Like Most developed character in the whole series. Or the whole trilogy.
Oh, we might have to take a break here in a second.
Yeah?
If you don't mind.
No, go for it.
You can keep it moving. You know, this is a alley-oop for you.
So
I just tossed it up, and this is all for you.
Well, I mean, at this point, I'll go into the stuff that I'm interested in seeing that it sounds like you weren't necessarily interested in. So
yeah, no.
If you need to go hit the restroom, go for it.
I'm there.
So there were a couple of things that came up that I was at least had a passing interest in. I do think that there is an opportunity around the MCU Phase 4. I am curious to see if they bring in the Mutants, X-Men, Fantastic Four into Marvel Phase 4, or if that's more of a Phase 5 thing. I do think they teased the Fantastic Four with the 4 that they used in the MCU 4 logo. Beyond that, there are a couple of things that I will say that I was not a huge fan of the first Venom movie, but it was B-movie good, meaning it was good enough to keep my interest, and it was funny enough that I laughed a few times. And based on the trailer that we've seen for Venom 2, what is it? It's something Carnage. I think that it looks interesting as well in terms of seeing the interaction between Eddie Brock and the symbiote, especially early on in the trailer where like the symbiote's making him breakfast and all this stuff and throwing it in front of him. And they've got little things like rules, don't eat people and don't eat Karen. And there were good one-liners throughout. What I struggled with early on in that trailer was more about Woody Harrelson, and I wasn't sure I was going to buy Woody Harrelson as Carnage, and Cliff and I were talking about it a little bit before the show, and when you look at the trailer, like, Woody Harrelson can do crazy. Like, it works. I don't know. I kind of wish they had cast an unknown in that role for Carnage. But overall, while I didn't love the first one, I'd probably give the second one a shot. Probably not till it got to streaming, but like I'm not going to go pay money to see that in a theater, but it is something that I'm interested in seeing. Outside of that, the ones that I'm interested in are the ones I've been interested in. Like I do still want to see Dune. I think Dune is going to hit, and it's going to hit big, or at least I'm hoping it is. It will probably be too smart because that's what Denis Villeneuve's films are. They are almost too good to be appreciated. So I think that that's a piece there. And then the last piece is more on the TV side. Like the TV shows I'm excited to see are, Stranger Things Season 4.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Which that feels super original. Like that doesn't... Yeah. Stranger Things has been one that's felt original. I am curious to see where the new Game of Thrones prequel ends up.
I didn't even know they were still doing that.
So there were like 3 or 4 that were in development, but House of the Dragon is the one that sounds like it's going to hit. And it's basically a prequel of how the Targaryens came to power with the dragons originally. And the teaser trailer they did for it is the little girl that was burned to death reading the story to...
What little girl that was burned to death?
The Onion Knight. Baratheon.
The Targaryens were the guy that plays Aquaman, right?
No, that is the...
I thought he was the
Khalasar.
one... I thought he was the one
the Dothraki.
I thought he was the one that gave her the eggs, though.
He is, but the Targaryens are her family.
Right.
So her family, had all of the dragons before.
So...
He came across the dragons, we don't know how.
It sounds to me like, though, and I could be interpreting incorrectly, but it sounds to me like the Dothraki were the originals with the dragons and then gave them to the Targaryens.
I don't think that's
so. How would it then go back to the Dothraki to give them back to the Targaryens?
So what I think happened was, and who knows, at some point the Dothraki raided, pillaged something, and found the eggs as part of that pillaging.
And then my whole thing is, why wouldn't she have noticed, though? Why wouldn't she have known instantly when they gave them to her, oh, this is a dragon egg I remember from my family.
Because the dragons had been extinct since before she was born. So the generation prior, or 2 generations prior, were the last of like the dragon riders.
I hear you. I feel like that's an instant hole in the story that's going to make me not want to watch it.
Fair enough. I think honestly, like that kind of like fantasy novel, that kind of stuff, like that shit happens all the time in terms of.
And I don't like watching shit like that.
See,
when I see something that's off in a movie, that I'm like, wait, well, you
now
just
see,
said
I thought
this.
you were a little. I thought you at least had an appreciation for things like the Lord of the Rings. Like I know you're not like a super big fan, but I thought there was at least.
Yeah, no, I don't mind it, but once you give me a hole in your story, I'm like, I'm not interested anymore.
Okay.
Like when you lead me this way, and don't get me wrong, I'm up for an M. Night Shyamalan twist, but when it's not written in the, like, okay, so you just said that, and now you're saying this, and you're not gonna go back to say why.
I'm struggling. I'm struggling with your comment just from it feels non sequitur to me, meaning like just because he gave the eggs to the Targaryen girl, I don't think that has any broader implication on everything else.
Well, see,
meaning there's enough time between when the Targaryens ruled.
I understand what you're saying, but then we're coming to that point once again of a Marvel movie, the Marvel movie where we don't know the characters. We know Lord of the Rings is a book, and we know that you
as is Game of Thrones.
Well, that's right. That's what I meant. They're all the same to me, but that's what I meant. We know it's a book, and we know that you started out with the fact that the Dothraki presented those dragons to her. So if you're going to go back to make it like a prequel to, I then want to know why they had the eggs and presented them to the Targaryens if they were the original holders of the dragons. I
hear what you're saying. This prequel, though, I think is going to be like thousands of years before, not like right before. And so meaning it's going far enough back that there's no direct tie-in other than the names.
And I guess the visual of it, where the Dothraki were more cavemanish.
Yeah.
They were more of the original Earth, and then you look at the Targaryens in their dresses and their colored shirts.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, wait, it makes more sense for them to be the holders of the dragons and you to have come across them than for you to be the original holders of the dragons.
And almost for you
cavemen beat you out of them. And
or for them to have, quote unquote, tricked the Dothraki out of the
Those are holes in the story to me where it's like, I'm no longer interested because that doesn't make sense. You're the more, and like you said, you didn't say it, but you're the more civilized society. Mm-hmm. Yet we're talking about something very ancient, such as dragons. But you're the ones who got them first, and they didn't. But they presented you with the eggs.
I think the whole thing there though is that without having like the complete ancient history, it's hard to make that call. Like my whole thing is I can suspend disbelief because maybe they did. Maybe to your point, maybe that's exactly what happened. But maybe it was far enough back that we just don't know.
Right,
you know
and
what I
mean? And I could be. But
that's where like I can suspend disbelief.
My instant thought when I think like that is you're not going to fill up enough time in that season to explain to me why this happened.
Well, and I think that's the difference is you either accept that they're not going to explain that or you're upset about it and you don't watch it.
Yeah, I don't, because it doesn't make sense. It's almost like, how did the Rothschilds get the bread? You mean the Rothschilds were the original caveman and they were always in position, but then they gave it to the Africans who made the pyramids and then you got it back? Ancestors, like that's too many. I'm good on that.
I hear you. I don't necessarily agree with you, but I hear you.
Right. But I'm good on that.
Well, and honestly, that's what pisses people off about the new Star Wars trilogy. Like, I hate to go back to Star Wars, but people are pissed that like they didn't feel like Luke Skywalker would behave the way he did in The Last Jedi, and that pissed fans off. That was when he
went bad?
No, so Luke Skywalker never really goes bad. He kind of does in Return of the Jedi, depending on your point of view. But that's also Star Wars is from a certain point of view.
Right.
Yeah, and it's the same principle. Some people can't get over that, and that's fine. Like, okay. If that bothers you enough that it makes you not a fan, that's okay. I think the other ones that I'm looking forward to, so I said Game of Thrones, I said Stranger Things. They are doing another season of Picard, supposedly. Excited to see that. I've actually turned the corner on Star Trek Discovery.
I don't know what that is.
That's CBS All Access.
The one with the black girl.
Yeah.
That was in Walking Dead.
Yes.
With
Captain,
the fucked up braids.
Michael Burnham.
Stand her hair in that.
But she's another one.
Speaking of Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I got back hip. I think I skipped a lot, if I'm being honest.
So are you watching Walking Dead or Fear of the Walking Dead or the
Fear
other
of the
one
Walking
that just
Dead?
dropped?
You know that's my favorite, but they haven't put a new. There's another one that dropped.
And maybe they only did like a teaser. They may have only done a teaser as part of the Walking Dead new season, the latest season.
Okay. Because, Fear the Walking Dead is my favorite, but they haven't dropped the new season yet, so I went to Walking Dead because I just had a urge to watch some shit like that. And I jumped back in. I don't know if you've
I'm all caught up, so...
Are you?
Yeah.
So I jumped back in where they sped it up to where the little girl, Judith is now...
Is grown.
Not grown, but
is like an 8-year-old or 9-year-old or something.
And the old lady has that's exactly where I'm at. The Whisperers. That's exactly where I'm at. And I thought a couple things.
And Gary Bertier?
No, I haven't got there yet.
You haven't gotten to Beta? You have to have. You just didn't realize it was him.
Who's Beta?
So you know who Alpha is. Like the lead of the Whisperers.
Oh, that's woman. Beta?
Beta is Gary
He's
Bertier.
never taken his hat off.
No, he never does.
Oh, okay.
He might do it once.
Okay, yeah.
For like a hot minute.
Yeah, I know if that was who that was. He never took his...
Gary Bertier.
Okay.
Or what's his character?
And I thought that too. When he knocked them down, that elevator shaft, I was thinking like, why are you leaving?
He's a fucking middle linebacker, dude. No,
I'm talking about
when Daryl knocked him down. Yeah,
why would you think that was enough?
No. Well, it gets a little crazier later on too, because that's not the only time that they thought they killed him.
Right. But I'm saying regardless, like, you could knock a young lady down that, and I'm not going to think the job is done.
Yeah.
I got to throw some rocks down there. You know what? The guarantee. Like, that's what I'm saying with movies and shit. People just don't, like, I would love to see a movie where somebody actually used their head.
That actually does something intelligent.
Like, not just bypasses what you should actually do because for the sake of the plot of the movie.
Right.
No, let's make it the movie.
Right. Like the basically doing the double tap after you think someone's down. Like, right. I'm gonna make sure.
Period. And let's move on. That's why I like Utopia.
None of these jump scares at the end.
It just doesn't make sense. Like, for you to think...
Okay, that's actually a good example of something... Well, was that based on something too, though? Utopia?
Right now, current events.
I know you think that's reality.
Jeff Bezos.
That one was good. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, Utopia was
You turned me on to that one.
Uh-huh. And I loved it. I just like shit the real.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna want somebody dead and just walk away without confirming the death.
Right.
And in Utopia, it was like, nope, that bitch is dead.
Well, I mean, that's actually how we ended up with Darth Vader, is that Obi-Wan thought Anakin burned to death.
Yeah, no, none of that.
and we ended up with the biggest villain
I don't care
in the entire
if you
universe.
get separated at the waist by a shark. I got to dive into that ocean and make sure the job's done. If this is the threat, I'm going down there to make sure it's done.
You know, it's funny you bring that up because that was that's essentially what happens with Darth Maul in Star Wars, is he gets cut in half in The Phantom Menace, and he comes back in the cartoons with, like, robotic legs.
Jordan Peele, Tyler Perry, holla at your boy. I'll at least improve your wigs, because them bitches are awful, boy. And that's the new Walking Dead. Those wigs are awful, too. They got Tyler Perry wigs. I was wondering, like, are y'all filming this in Atlanta?
Yes, actually.
Are they?
Yeah, Walking Dead's always been filmed in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, it's definitely Tyler Perry studio. They got them wigs from TV. They're awful. I was like, this is the most awful. I like that shit. Like that makes me want to stop watching.
I hear you.
If I can't stand your hair, like it just looks fake, I quit. I'm done.
What bothered me more on that front was, I feel like early on in The Walking Dead, before you got to the governor, the governor was like the big bad at one point. He basically had.
It's the dude they hung.
I can't remember if they hung him or not, but
Maggie hung him, and that's when Michonne and them was upset. It's the dude that they locked him up for a while.
I thought Michonne put the sword through his eye. Oh, Michonne did put the sword through his eye. He survived that. He lost his eye, and yeah, I think you're right.
They hung him.
I think that's right. I don't remember for sure.
I don't know names like that.
But he was the first. He was the first quote unquote like big bad. Like there was
right.
Like,
he was on at the hilltop. He ran the hilltop.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. That's the one they hung. Yep. Okay. And Maggie took over the hill. Yep.
No, that was the dude, the bald headed dude.
He was older.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about. It was before the hilltop. He ran. I think. Yeah, before Negan. Did he run Alexandria? He might have run Alexandria.
I think it was Alexandria.
And it was Michonne and the blonde. God damn it! Was that Katie Sackhoff who played that character? It was the girl that Michonne was friends with before she joined like the full party. Anyways,
I thought she was only friends with the zombies. I thought she walked with the zombies.
She did, but then she made friends with this girl. And
can't see her face.
The governor was the dude that had like the zombie heads in his office.
Right.
In like the water and stuff. So you know who I'm talking about.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
He was the first.
Didn't his wife get bit or something like that?
And he kept her head.
Yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about. That. Still can't see his face, but I
But you know who but storyline wise, you know what I'm talking about. He was the first big bad, and that's actually what bothered me about The Walking Dead from then on out, is that it always felt like you had to have like them versus another human society.
But you know that's how it would be in real life.
I hear you. What I struggle with though is that from a narrative perspective, that got boring for me. Because they did it with the governor, they did it with Negan, they did it with.
I see what you're saying.
They did it with honestly, they did it with the Whisperers.
You know what, the Whisperers was the best.
Because they
twist.
blend. I agree.
Because they thought that it was the zombies.
It was the best evolution of the same concept.
It was.
But if you remember, the first 4 or 5 seasons before you get to the governor, there wasn't like a structured bad guy.
Right. Right.
It was, they were battling disease. Right. They were battling the zombies. They were battling safety and security and location. Though.
That's how it starts. And then people want your spot.
I hear that to an extent. I do. I think narratively, though, that gets boring. And that's kind of where I'm at with Walking Dead at this point is like, okay, we've done the same thing 3 or 4 times now, and we're doing it again now with.
I think
when you get to the end of the current season, or not the end, when you get to like the midpoint of the current season,
the 10th.
There is another outside force of human survivors. Right. I'll just leave it at that for now.
But I mean, I feel like that's always going to be the case.
I hear you. I'm not saying that it's not realistic, but what I am saying is that narratively the shit gets old. Which they're in their 10th season. Shit's allowed to get old, and they're allowed to repeat themselves. But it's also why I think whether it's the second half of season 10 or season 11, like they've declared the end. They've said that whatever is next is done.
It should have been the end.
Don't disagree.
Should have been the end. Let's be honest. We could have wrapped this up.
I do like the fact that they did like the time jump because I do think that it gave it a chance to get new life.
I like that they did the time jump mid-season.
Yeah.
I don't know that I think the time jump was necessary, but the fact that they did it mid-season kind of brought me back into wanting to know what was next.
What was going on?
That's another reason why I would cut show off. Like, now I'm done now.
Once you do the time jump.
But when I watched it, I was like, well, let me see what this little girl is about.
Yeah. She's interesting, and her relationship with Negan is interesting.
I like that.
It gets better.
I bet. I saw it was.
Yeah.
Listen.
But that's a show that when it came out, like, yes, it was based on a comic book, but that was another, relatively innovative for TV.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then the fact that was relatively innovative for a comic book. So the fact that you brought it to TV is still fit.
It's a fun fact. The company that owns the Walking Dead franchise and is like Robert Kirkman's like production company, also runs the Schmodown now.
Really?
It's Skybound Entertainment.
So I can get 2 jobs in the
one. Call them up. Hey, Skybound, if you're listening, we're big fans.
And listen
of a lot of stuff that you do.
We can see what you do wrong, and we have no problem telling you.
Right.
But what were you about to say?
No, I was going to say, I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I was, like, super interested in. I don't think so.
Not movie-wise.
Movie or TV-wise. I think I've kind of covered off on the things that capture my eye. I will say, another one that I think has been innovative, but it's been, to your point, I think it's still based on a book, although I think they've moved past the books, is Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, I can't watch that.
No?
I get the same vibe from like
the black
right, like watching black folks die type shit. It gives me the same.
It's a little
vibe.
too real.
Yeah, I don't like so I can't watch that. What was I about to say? I had something to say.
I'll give you a second, and then.
No, I don't. I can't remember. It's gonna come to me though.
So we've talked movies and TV. Looking at other entertainment channels, E3's coming up.
What's that?
Entertainment Electronics Expo. Yeah. Usually video games. Anything that you've heard that's on the horizon that you're interested in? I know you want to see the new boxing game come out.
ESBC is the only thing I got my eye on.
All right. I'm waiting for Skyrim to be announced, the new Skyrim game, or the new Elder Scrolls game. So Elder Scrolls 6. And then there are rumors of a new Dragon Age game being close to the horizon as well. But one of those is Bethesda, one is BioWare, in theory. And I think those are the 2 that are on the horizon that I'm interested in. And I think... I mean, we are getting close to we're getting close to like 5 or 6 years out from Skyrim, so maybe we'll get that one. But I don't know. Like, I was trying to think of other entertainment things that are going on. I mean, music artists right now, like, I will tell you, I don't listen to music anymore outside. Like, I'll go back and I'll tell you what, my most played song over the last, we'll call it the last 30 days, has been... fucking Nate Dogg and Warren G.
Oh, Lord.
Nobody does it better. I know you thought I was going to say Regulate, but...
I did.
But I changed it up and went, nobody does it better.
Listen, music's dead.
Is it? I mean, I kind of feel the same way. Like,
It's not dead.
I listen to music in the weight room that the kids put on, and I'm like, it's all the same mumble rap bullshit. Like, is that trap music? Is that what it's called? That's what we used to call it. I don't know what it's called now, but
no,
is it just rap?
You can't call it the same thing.
I hear you. What do they call it? What do the kids call it? Music.
Right, that's what I was about to say. But, yeah, no, I don't. That's what I'm saying. We need another Childish Gambino. We need somebody that's willing to step outside of bounds. Like, right now, everybody.
Well, and you would think that would be easier to do in the music space because it's easier than ever to be, like, self-published.
Right.
So, like, now again,
That's right.
You don't get that attention unless you have the marketing arm behind you. But like in terms of putting music out there, it's not hard. It's just how do you ensure that people have heard it? And maybe the case is that the people who are truly just doing music to put themselves out there and put their feelings out there, their emotions out there, don't care whether or not it's marketed or not.
I mean, that's kind of how we were.
Yeah.
I mean, but I mean, at the same time, of what you're putting out, how could you care?
Right.
How could you care? Like, do you really expect to make it big off of what's going on right now?
Honestly, your best hope right now is to get picked up by some TikTok craze and then hope that somebody sees that and gives you money for, like, commercials or something.
Listen, I feel like we're in the same boat. Whether it be podcasts or the music, that's the same target playing.
I mean, it is. I think what's different with what we do is, to your point, like, yeah, we still want to get that clip that catches and goes, but ideally we're building depth, right? Like,
right.
Podcasts and especially doing like a 2-hour podcast is more about building a community, building relationships, even if it's just via digital media. Like, I will tell you, and it's interesting. Let me pull up this graph real quick, and that sounds nerdy.
Oh shit, we're graphing.
But let me pull up this graph real quick.
We're graphing it
and tell you that this is the trajectory of our podcast since we started. And Anchor sometimes, because I have the same, since we have 3 accounts running off the same computer, what ends up happening is it won't refresh the correct way. So I have to click reload a couple of times. But what's interesting is to look at, there we go. So this graph
Tell
down.
me so.
This graph
Give
down
me a
here.
graph.
And I might have to see what I could do to throw it up on the screen for the viewers. If I were to go to all time, what's the nice thing about this graph right here?
Like trending up.
Big time trending up. So, what I will say is our valleys today, as of, let's say, March of 2021, were our peaks in March of 2020.
That's a good way to look at that.
So, appreciate all you fans that are out there downloading the podcast version, checking us out there. We are getting to a point where, let's see, we have averaged not quite between 60 and 100 downloads a week. Now, that's not all the current day episodes. That's just general over the life of the podcast. Or is
that everything?
That's just Do Fools Agree.
Oh, that's interesting too.
So let's continue down this trip of evaluating our podcast live on the air.
Why not?
Because we've talked the movies and TV to death.
Why not?
But if we look at Hit the Showers is already at 250 all-time downloads. The show is only, 3.5 months old, 4 months old?
Yeah, but coming up on 4.
And generally speaking, I mean, if you were to look at a trend line here, it would be roughly the same. Now, it's very early, so it's hard to tell with Hit the Showers.
Right.
But still trending in the right direction for the most part. And then Jeff's is a little bit more interesting on the mind and body because he only drops episodes once a month. But even though he only drops episodes once a month, he sees a pretty big spike every time. and that spike leads to previous episodes being downloaded as well.
How,
overall, you see growth in the trajectory.
Right.
So,
right.
We're doing our thing. We're doing all right. I do think that we've got an opportunity to invest a little bit here. I do think the other side is if you're interested in supporting the podcast, check us out on Anchor. There is a link for listener support. We do have waiting in the wings that we will try to launch this summer, a Patreon. And Cliff and I need to talk about merchandise on that front. Because as he gets things situated with the clothing production side, maybe we can do a little bit of gifts for Patreon and those types of things, which would make that worthwhile. But I mean, we're moving in the right direction. It's slow but steady.
I mean, I figured it to be slow.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm okay with that. Like, the effort it would be required to have something quote unquote go viral at this point, the juice may not be worth the squeeze there.
But nah, we good. We just we gotta get everything we need. Once I get everything we need as far as logos and all that, we're good.
Yeah.
Cause I noticed the big jump off of the one TikTok that just got put up off of a fan.
With Malcolm falling out his damn chair.
Not the only one.
Oh, that was the one I caught, though. Was there another one?
No, I said I'm not the only one.
I got you.
But it's I feel like once if we can cut out a week, and that wasn't even funny to me. You know what I mean? Like it might have been funny to everybody else.
No, I'm kind of with you in the sense
that show that I thought were hilarious. At the same time, I said I don't want nobody to cut those out though either.
We're gonna get canceled.
It wasn't even canceled. I just don't want anybody to feel a certain kind of way. We were talking about somebody specifically.
Oh, okay.
And I wouldn't want that to.
You don't want to go viral for trashing someone?
Right, yeah, that's not what I'm about.
I hear you.
No, I don't mind, if it just so happens, but I'm not going to put that out.
I do seem to remember a few months ago you talking about, let me cancel motherfuckers.
But the people I was trying to cancel haven't been able to be canceled, so.
All right. I hear you.
So, you work your way up the totem pole.
So, I'm sure you're going to talk about this tomorrow, but I am going to steal the thunder a little bit.
Of course.
Tim Tebow and the Jags.
We've talked about him for the past...
Really?
3 episodes, yeah.
When really this was the,
he just got signed.
He just got signed.
But people have been...
Had that been rumored for a while?
Yeah, that had been rumored for like a month.
Gotcha. Well, because Urban and Tim are boys.
I think that's a good move, though.
Are you serious?
I think that's a good move.
When was the last time you played a football game?
Now, I get that, too, because let me be honest, I'll say this, and I'm going to say it tomorrow on the show as well. I've seen a lot of posts saying that's white privilege, and I do agree.
Is.
I do agree. A 9-year nobody getting signed back to the league is definitely white privilege. But I feel like Tim Tebow is a workhorse. It doesn't matter what he's doing, he's going to do it to the fullest of his ability. And if you were to put somebody, a tight end size quarterback at tight end, I want to throw to him. Because he knows where I want to put that ball.
He knows where he needs to be.
That ball is going to be put right here, Tim, and you know that. Are you going to make it there or not? And I think he's athletic enough to get to that point. I think that, honestly, and I said it, and this is, once again, me jumping out the window, I think that you'll see a similar trend in popularity to Tim Tebow as you did Rob Gronkowski this year.
Gotcha. I can see that.
Not the same, help me out, not the same end result or effect.
Right.
But I do see the same popularity happening for Tim Tebow as Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah.
Rob Gronkowski was fucking 39 playing in the fucking league.
Right.
With the Tampa Bay. And you think that Tim Tebow can't at 33 do the same thing? I think he can.
No, I'm with you there.
Tim Tebow was a dog. And like I said in the show, all you had to do is hike him the ball and he would run it straight up the middle to the house. Doesn't matter who was hitting him on the way, he's making it to the house. So to put that man at a tight end spot, I think that might be smarter than a lot of people would think.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
The last thing that I'll kind of hit on this, and you can tell me if you guys are going to talk about it tomorrow. Usually you guys, at least from what I've watched, you don't necessarily look back. You guys usually do a pretty good job of predictions on the fights and then not always look back. Let's talk about your boy Canelo. Unifying titles and shit. I actually watched the fight.
We didn't unify yet.
Oh, is that coming up?
He hasn't unified yet. He still has one more belt on, and that's Caleb Plant.
Okay.
I honestly think Billy Joe Sanders had a better shot than Caleb Plant does.
Got it.
But I also feel like Billy Joe Sanders got caught with a lucky shot.
Really?
Yeah, that was a lucky shot. I love Canelo.
I hear you, and I watched most of the fight. I thought Canelo controlled the fight. It was a lucky
shot. If Billy Joe Sanders didn't throw that wild ass hook, he'd have never got hit with that shot.
I hear what you're saying, but
that was desperation.
I thought Canelo still would have won on points at that point.
At that point, yeah, no. Well, there was one judge that had him up 2 rounds. Billy Joe Sanders up 2 rounds.
Okay.
He still would have won by a split decision, and I had him winning too.
Yeah.
I did. But Billy Joe Sanders was gaining momentum from the second round up until he got hit with that shot.
Gotcha.
And that's what I'm saying. I feel like it was a confidence thing. It was where you felt like you had the momentum so you can throw wild. No, you can't.
No.
Not against somebody like Canelo.
No.
And that one wild shot
was all he needed in terms of an opening.
And they said that his eye socket is fractured in 4 spots.
Yeah, it was brutal.
He's not going to come back from that.
No.
He's not going to come back from that. He's not going to be able to fight again from that. He'll have another fight, I guarantee it, because Billy Joe is Billy Joe. And
probably refracture it, or
yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. That's the same thing that happened to.
Although I don't know, they say that especially around the face that the bones harden more than the first time.
Nah, G.
No.
Nah, G.
Once you break, you think he'll come back too soon?
I've already seen it. Listen, I've felt it. I've had a fracture on my eye socket before, and I know what that feels like. I don't know what it feels like to fight on it after.
Yeah.
But I know 2 fighters that have tried and careers are over. So I don't know that he'll ever be able to come back from this.
Got it.
And he was undefeated before.
Yeah.
I don't think that he'll ever be the same Billy Joe he was before. And that's sad to me. I honestly get sad at that.
At seeing somebody like that.
Yeah, because he
not
was
have another opportunity.
A truly great fighter, and that might be the end of your career.
Right.
There might not be no coming back from that, and that's rough.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because I was flipping between that and the Cerrone fight.
The Donald Cerrone, who'd he fight?
Alex Morono.
Oh, they were just trying to see if he still had something in him then.
Yeah. And then he lost first round.
Yeah. He ain't got nothing.
Knockout.
I love Donald Cerrone.
I know you do. That was actually what caught my eye when I was flipping back and forth.
He reminds me of my dad in a weird way.
Yeah. I can see that.
Seeing people like that, because Billy Joe Sanders was the equivalent to a Donald Cerrone legend.
Okay.
And seeing people like that go out like Just one shot. That's all it takes, though.
It is. That's all it takes.
Listen, Pops used to tell me all the time, one mistake can cost you your life. Don't make them.
Right.
And he made him. He threw that dumbass shot. I won't say why I feel he threw it. It was just a very dumb shot to throw, and he's been in the league long enough to know
better. Yeah.
You're damn near fighting a Mayweather when you're fighting a Canelo. You cannot afford to take dumb risks, and you just made the dumbest. It was just the dumbest risk. He was doing great too. It looked like.
I mean, it looked even enough throughout the fight until that.
It looked like he was about to take the lead until that happened.
Yeah.
He was down 2 rounds.
It went down quickly after that.
He was down 2 rounds. And then another, what's the funny thing is, which you might not understand, is there's a black fighter fought in. He's a European fighter as well. He quit on the stool. Similar situation, fractured. I don't know if Daniel Dubois got a fractured orbital, but he said something in his face got broken.
Yeah.
He quit on the stool. Billy Joe puts a tweet out the next day saying, "My heartbeat will stop before I ever quit on the stool because somebody broke my face." Then you get your face broken. Now, to his credit, though, it wasn't him that stopped the fight. It was his corner. But it's still karma. It's your karma.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
You don't know what people are going through.
Why would you say that?
Right. And here we are now. So, I mean, I hope him all the best, or I wish him all the best. I hope that he does at least get
come back
one shot again to get back. Because I would like to see the rematch.
Yeah.
I would like to see that rematch. I know a lot of people will say it's not worth seeing it, but Billy Joe was giving Canelo a problem. But this is one thing, I don't know if I said it. I didn't say it. I'll say it on the podcast tomorrow because we talk about sports. There's been, for the past 2 years, people saying Canelo does not fight black fighters. And Canelo has not fought a black fighter for almost 4 years. The only black fighters that Canelo has ever fought, he's almost lost to. Lost to Floyd Mayweather. Then he fought Alessandro Lara. Mm-hmm. That fight, everybody says he lost, but the judges gave to him because he was the younger. We'll make more money off of him than we will him.
We'll extend the career here because that one's almost done.
Then he fought Austin Trout, another slick back black fighter that he almost didn't come out that fight against.
Yeah.
He didn't get knocked out, but I mean, like, the win, he didn't almost get that.
Right.
So it looks to me like you don't want to fight black fighters anymore. And your 2 mandatories in the past 3 weight divisions he's moved up were Jamel Charlo, and Andrade. You've avoided all 3 of those people.
Yeah.
Why is it that you won't fight a black fighter?
Maybe he's just racist.
I don't even think it's racism. I don't even think it's racism.
Is it fear?
I think it's fear. I do. I think that you think the slick fighters cause me problems and I don't want to go there with one.
That's fair.
That's really what I think of it. And don't get me wrong, Canelo is my favorite fighter in boxing right now. But I do think he has a fear of fighting black fighters. I will say that, heads down, I don't care who feels any kind of way, troll me.
Right.
Troll my Facebook page. I do feel like Canelo has a fear of fighting black fighters, and that's a fact.
There you go.
Why else haven't? Not one?
Right.
Not one in the past, 3 years? He hadn't fought one black fighter in 3 years. So what is it? Is it that they don't deserve a shot, or are you scared to fight them? I don't get it.
More likely scared. All right, man. Well, we're about at time. You got anything else to take us out?
Love them.
Love everybody.
Love them.
So we do have a full host of shows now on the network. Do us a favor, head over to Apple Podcasts, search Foolproof Entertainment Network. You will find Do Fools Agree, Mind and Body Understanding, and Hit the Showers. And do us a favor, head over to the Facebook page, click like, head over to the YouTube page, subscribe, notify, all that good stuff. And with all of that,
Do it on both.
Do it on all of it.
Right?
If you really love us, you'll go subscribe on Apple Podcasts, rate and comment.
Refer it to your friend. Refer it to your mama.
Share it out. And I mean, we appreciate those of you that have done that because we have seen the increase in downloads, in terms of views, all that good stuff. So appreciate all of the Fools Army out there. Do we have a name for our fans? Did we just call it the Friends of the Fools? Did we come up with something more clever than that?
I don't know. My pops calls the
shower heads.
The shower heads. I like that. I don't know.
We need like a general Foolproof Stan
we do.
Name. We'll think about it. But friends are, you're a fellow fool is what we'll say. You're fools. So we appreciate all the fools. Thank you for doing all that you do for us. Thank you for liking, subscribing, listening. Hop in the chat, man. We love having the interaction, the back and forth with the fan base while we're doing the show. So anytime you get a chance to catch us live, do it. Hop in the chat. We're always happy to talk to people. If you're interested in hopping on the show,
come troll the motherfuckers.
Hit Clipper IO. Right? No doubt.
Control the chat.
And with all of that, thank you all. Have a good night.
Love your mothers.
Love them. Oh, it's a pain when streaming.